This man is lost in the wild forest. It's been 15 days now. He touched the bundle on his head, peering closely to see what was inside. He took out a screw from his pocket, endured the pain, then gently made a small cut, took out a bug with his hand, and dropped it into the bowl. The area is the Amazon jungle, dangers lurking everywhere. Ants, spiders, scorpions, venomous snakes. Anything can take his life. Then he continued on his way. A cut branch caught his attention. This is the cut of a very sharp blade. Most likely someone nearby. Hello? After searching, there was still no one. At that time he discovered 2 bird eggs. He had not eaten for a long time. He carefully picked up the egg, thought for a while, broke the egg with a stone, endured it, and ate it. After eating, he continued to search, but before his eyes was a pile of rubble. His hopes were dashed. Then he took out the map, used his hand to measure the distance. There was still a long way to go. This distance is not difficult for ordinary people, but for injured people, it is difficult to reach the sky. He removed his shoes, then gently removed his socks. He did not dare to use force, because his socks were stuck to his feet. His feet were soaked with blood. Each time he took off a little bit, it was a pain in the heart. But if he wanted to live, he had to do so. Looking at his wound, he remembered his companions. 9 days ago, the 4 of them boarded a plane, went into the Amazon forest together, each with their own purpose. The photographer wants to capture the landscape here. The poet wants to find inspiration. The person likes to explore alone. The guide is fluent in the map. 4 people walking and playing, laughing and singing all the way. Bad time, good times don't last long. Due to the long trip, the poet's foot was seriously injured. It was necessary to clean the wound. More importantly, it slows progress. Since it was the rainy season, they had to get out of the forest before the rainy season. Otherwise they would most likely never be able to get out. So they decided to go their separate ways. The poet's feet should not get wet. Choose with the guide to walk on the shore. The man and the photographer choose the faster route, the river way. Use the bark to make a rope. Use the trunk to make a boat. A simple raft has been completed. At that moment an ant crawled onto the man's hand, biting his skin. The man cried out in pain. What the hell is this? It's a fire ant. Both of them are holding onto the raft, in the fast-flowing water. Do not dare to be indifferent. This is literally the most dangerous place in the world. Can't go up. Can't get down. The man calling for help, in this vast Amazon forest, got no response. So the companion decided to destroy the boat. He wants to jump in to hold the rapids, cut some more vines and come back to save him. If he doesn't succeed, he will be a good person. The companion plunged into the water, but no trace of the position was found. A moment later it emerged dangerously. He swam to the shore. Now the current was getting stronger. The raft swayed continuously. The man tried his best to hold the boat, at which point a big wave came. Yossi. But the man floated on the water. He hugged the rock. Then he tried to swim to the shore. In the evening it rained heavily. He stayed in a cave. Cold and lonely all combined. He was both hungry and tired. The next day he came to a stream. A backpack was floating in the middle of the stream. He seized the opportunity, jumped into the water and grabbed his backpack. God bless the food. Maybe he'll last for a while. After getting ready, he continued on his way. He came under a tree. The fruit on the tree gave him an appetite. He used force to cling to the tree and climbed up. Without waiting for him to climb, a snake opened its mouth wide and rushed towards him. He was afraid to fall to the ground. He didn't want to give up just like that. He continued to climb, throwing the snake to the ground. He then used a stone to beat the snake to death. Ate the snake meat, and finally relieved his hunger. At night he spread the leaves below in the dark jungle, slowly closing his eyes. In the dream, as if someone was calling his name, he opened his eyes, saw the poet standing in front of him. He began to appear illusions. After waking up, the pimple on his head hurt. This is due to parasites in snake meat. He used a screw to cut the pus, was a bug. Then ate bird eggs. Began a long journey, not knowing how long he walked. Footprints appeared on the ground, giving him more hope. Maybe the companion is nearby. He called out his companion's name, but no one answered. But when he saw the eggshell in the distance, the most terrible thing happened. He lost his way, went around, and finally came back to the starting point. He didn't believe this to be true, so he stepped on the shoe. Neither big nor small. It was his own. No. The man heard the sound of an animal. Immediately raising his guard, he took out the spray bottle, took out a lighter, prepared both ends well, watched quietly. At this moment the beast poked its head in. A fierce tiger. The tiger wants to attack. Suddenly, he finally survived another night. After being silent for a while, he remembered the words of his companion but couldn't find the opponent. So he had to wait in the river. But he had been in the forest for 15 days. He scolded himself for being stupid, walking towards the river. On the other side, in the middle of the river, the companion was saved by the people here. The friend wants to come back to save him. They fly the plane along the river, hovering in the woods. The man saw the plane. He used his strength to wave his red raincoat from the dense jungle. The friend did not see him. Watching the plane leave, he's desperate. So it's been 17 days. He doesn't know how many more days he can last. He used a broken cane to support. Disaster came rushing in. He was not careful. He fell into the mud. His body began to sink. He struggled. On the contrary, it sank deeper. He told himself not to move, seeing the talisman in the quagmire, thinking of his uncle who had always encouraged him. This gave him a new hope in life. He reached out and grabbed a branch. Climbing little by little, he begged the branch not to break, and finally succeeded. After climbing out of the mud, he was covered in mud and exhausted. He knew that if he wanted to live, he had to regain his spirit. He thought of the ant at that moment. Then he took off his clothes, went to a tree. At the tree trunk dense with ants, he shook the trunk. Thousands of ants fell on him, ants biting each piece of skin. The intense pain filled him with energy. Taking advantage of this spirit, rushed into the river with all his might. After reaching the riverbank, he used wood to create a raft, then fell asleep. The next day the companion went upstream again, to the riverbank. The companion kicked away the log, but still did not find him in the hollows. The man heard the noise, and quickly ran out. He wanted to call his friend. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't make a sound. The friend went further and further away. Just when he was about to leave, the friend turned around, saw a thin person who was him. Yossi. Finally he was saved. After reaching the tribe, the people gathered together, sighing at the miracle of life. The rest of the team didn't see any news. Many years later he returned to live here. He is grateful for the difficulties in this place, also grateful for every inch of this place, every forest, and everyone here.